Have you ever been a cell side-scrolling through life, not really knowing what you want to do or where you should go next, and then BAM! Right out of the blue you see a decapitated corpse and you fuse with it and everything just starts going great? Really? Oh, that's really odd. But you have a lot in common with one of the most interesting and anticipated games that went through beta testing in early summer 2017, Dead Cells. You might want to see a professional, or hop on board and follow me, Brendan, from the Leaderboard through these dungeons, caverns, and sewers of fun facts in 7 facts about Dead Cells. Let's get started. First and foremost, this game was a huge passion project for the developers at Motion Twin, who are huge fans of Castlevania and roguelikes, which goes without saying. After 2 years of development, according to IndieDB, Dead Cells became available on May 10th, 2017 as an early access game, going up against a stigma of gamers not wanting to pay for an unfinished preview and paying $17 for it. They also went up against the scrutiny of the quality of the game. With procedurally generated maps or randomized levels, it comes with skepticism because of the chance it would provide for poor gameplay. Mainly because in a game's storyline, we care too much about character motivations, desires, and actions, and getting an algorithm to make a story with interesting elements like this is quite hard because it's problematic to make believable. Well, it was all worth it. On the Dead Cells website blog, the creators explained that they are enchanted by the looming threat of having little to no checkpoints to save you from your lack of skill. They wanted a world that provided a wide variety of diversity while staying intriguing and entertaining. Motion Twin also wanted various experiences each time you die, while striving to maintain a world that is perfect in visuals and gameplay. The creators also wanted to stray from the normal formula of the Metroidvania style in roguelike maps, and leave room for free will. Sometimes based on your decisions, you can choose the level that might be shorter but harder, or traverse one area which seems to have barely any foes, but then has a giant horde at the end. They made it this way to better suit individuals and different styles of gameplay and skill. As developer Mathieu Capdegela said on the Dead Cells website, "We want it to be tough, but fair." The Dead Cells developer Motion Twin is a French gaming company that is no stranger to great games. They've been around for 13 years, and trust me, after Dead Cells, they are not going anywhere. Motion Twin is a bold company with a website front page that claims, "We have no boss." This means that it's a small team. Everybody is equal, and has equal say in the video game creativity process, and who they hire, and all employees are paid the same salary. Wow, talk about equal opportunist. It's like a bunch of cool independent gamers in one room, hashing it out and trying to make the best game they possibly can. The team only consists of 10 people, all of whom own part of the company. They feel that 10 is just the perfect amount of people to run a bunch of projects simultaneously, but still maintain a small indie company so they don't remove the heart and the basic concepts of their games that make them simple yet difficult, amazing, albeit addictive. They've designed over 150 games, and are working on many more projects as we speak. Some of their most famous titles include My Brute, Die 2 Night, and Mush. If you haven't tried these titles, you are missing out. I would recommend downloading them right now. Motion Twin is on their way to being a household name before you know it. All 10 employees are known to be avid gamers, and their goal is to create a game that they would play first thing in the morning and last thing at night. It's said that during their creative process, no ideas are turned down, just focused into their style of gameplay. When they're creating a game, anything goes. It's a freedom that they feel gives them the opportunity to live up to their unique style of gaming, storytelling, and look of all the games that they have made, and all the games to come. You'll hear the term Metroidvania-style gameplay and roguelike, which is a subgenre of role-playing with procedural death labyrinths, thrown around a lot when reading about Dead Cells, and this is because the game shares many traits with Metroid and Castlevania, and with other influences like Dark Souls and Rogue Legacy. These are the perfect ingredients for a delicious Dead Cells salad. You can easily feel the influences upon playing the game, as well as the dedication of the team that made it. That's because these games that Dead Cells is based upon are also the highest-rated side-scrolling action-adventure games there are. Let's look closer. The Castlevania Symphony of the Night attributes have to do with non-linear exploration, and just that cool side-scrolling fighting multiple enemies at once look and feel. Also, there's an amazing whip. The boosting of attributes and power upgrades are common in all side-scrolling games, and Dead Cells uses a different style of approach to add an exciting flair that separates them and proves that this is an evolution of a game, not a copy. Dead Cells also has a Dark Souls feel in terms of its always dying concept, and then using that knowledge to then conquer or permadeath. The difficulty level might not be as burdensome as the Souls games, but the residue of death is kind of reminiscent of a Dark Soul reality. You will cry. You may notice that Dead Cells gives hints of Super Metroid too. It's got those powers and abilities throughout the game that will allow you to access previously inaccessible areas, that gives a feeling of variety in the constant shifting nature of the game. And finally, Rogue Legacy is an easy doppelganger for Dead Cells in terms of gameplay. They both share the randomization of dungeon-type levels where death is all a part of the game as well. The art design in Dead Cells is the real winner in this game. It has that gorgeous side-scrolling pixelated feel that's really easy for low-spec systems, but also gives a nostalgic visual. It's kind of like that rotoscope look in Prince of Persia, or even that Aladdin game on the Genesis. I love that game. Its 16-bit style graphics can easily work with low-grade systems, minimum of Windows 7, 2 gigs of RAM, and a measly 500 megabytes of storage. Thomas Vasseur, the creative director, and Gwenaël Mas, the decoration artist, worked tirelessly to give you the opportunity to stop and smell the roses, or decomposing corpses, and enjoy the view. It's said that by enjoying some of the background visuals and exploring the art, you can learn a little more about the story of Dead Cells. Wink, wink. Let's get down to brass tacks. What's in this game? What am I to expect, and what's going to kill me so much? This game has 11, count them, 11 levels, each with their own different design, wonderfully adapted ambience, and a slew of eccentric enemies. Not afraid to die? Good, because there are over 20 different monsters that you'll be going up against, and the developers promise us more in the future. How do you kill them? Well, with 50 different items. We're talking skills, weapons, amulets, potions, upgrades, and more, designed specifically to make you experiment and crush, kill, and caress, or maybe not caress, but destroy your enemies. You do this by a meticulously designed combat system that takes a learning curve, but once you master it, you'll be feeling almost invincible in your ability and skill to tackle almost any situation that comes your way. This indie game has up to 30 hours of gameplay, let's say 10-ish if you're a master, but it's more than enough to really be worth spending your money and time on it. And by the way, all this that we've just listed only accounts for about 40% that's actually going to be in the game upon early release. They're definitely adding more. Things like weapons, monsters, rooms, skills, upgrades, anything that the user community feels strongly for or against that they should add or take away from the game. Motion Twin listens to their fans and really wants this to be the best game possible. The company will be announcing an update cycle through Steam wherein these new items and attributes will be discussed and released periodically. The developers feel that it will take them about 8 to 12 months to perfect the game and have an eventual console release. 2 years ago, Motion Twin started crafting the procedurally generated design of the maps carefully because of the recent skepticism of developers and gamers alike. They were going to build it brick by brick, or hand per se, but opted out because of lack of time. Minecraft and Starbound were killing it, so they knew they had their work cut out for them, but were also familiar doing procedurally generated games in the past. They learned through a prototype for Dead Cells to test the permadeath mechanic, and realized that by placing an emphasis on an individual's skill rather than just learning the level, it felt much more amazing when you make progress. By doing this, it also felt chaotic. The solution to the problem was to combine the procedural generation and handmade levels for a hybrid approach. The inspiration for this approach was based on 2 games, Left 4 Dead, which isn't that surprising because Dead Cells was originally supposed to be a zombie tower defense game, and Faster Than Light, an amazing procedural generation game. The reception of Dead Cells is one-sided. Well received. Everybody is going bonkers over the obvious passion for gaming and precise design that Motion Twin discovered in this pixelated project. Several reviews online proclaim the same positive response and hit the same points. There's a lot of overlap in what the reviews are saying, so I'm just gonna break it down for you into the good, the bad, and the ugly. Number 1, the good. If I got a nickel for every time somebody said fluid in their description of gameplay, I could develop my own game. Although it wouldn't be as fluid as this one probably. With a 10 out of 10 rating on Steam, which is no easy feat, Dead Cells has amazing controls and very fast gameplay. It's the type of gameplay that's meant to be so fast that it makes you want to go fast. Kind of like the old Sonic the Hedgehog games where you're even trying to beat the speed of the level. Justin McElroy from Polygon.com cites in his review that Dead Cells is a thrilling, addictive, and expertly honed game. But gameplay isn't the only thing that's making this game stand on its own. Of course, the amazing visuals are posted in pretty much every review you see, so many of them comment on how much variety the game has to offer. There's lots to do, and some say that only 8 hours in, they barely even managed to scratch the surface. Brendan Caldwell from Rock Paper Shotgun gave an in-depth review and said with 12 hours of gameplay clocked, he had only played against 1 boss. The weapons are fun to upgrade, and even when you die, there's not really those groaner moments. You're happy to come back and see what the newly randomized level has to offer. Alright, now number 2, the bad stuff they were saying. Okay, so there are a couple of things that fans believe could use improvement. One thing is that the game has an unfinished feel. Probably because this is an early access game, they're gonna work out the kinks learned from beta testing and the other issues that arise, but it's there. Another negative aspect, which doesn't seem to affect love of this game, is the storyline, which is essentially a beheaded guy going around grabbing cells and kicking ass. There's no real plot. But does the game really need one? Who doesn't like to just run around kicking ass? Justin McElroy from Polygon mentioned this and agrees. Hey man, I really love your podcast, can you please put me on one of them? Fans also complain that sometimes the randomization of levels creates paths that feel supposed to be profitable, but are actually just elemental and easily recognizable without giving you the fruits of your labor. This generation of new pathways that lead to mundane areas and have no purpose becomes pretty easily recognizable though. Doesn't happen that often. Sometimes in a game, you get stuck in one place and you just gotta get out of it and find where the real action is, right? And finally, the ugly? This guy. Well, that's about it for 7 facts about Dead Cells. Once again, I'm Brendan, and thanks for watching. As we said, the developers are highly receptive to comments and critiques, so sound off below on what you would like to add to the 60% of the game that hasn't even been perfected yet. Hit that bell icon below to become part of the notification squad, and if you like getting more from your games, subscribe to the Leaderboard, where we help you game smarter.